What time are we going live?
Didn't pin.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are for the iRacing Stock Car Association Buttkicker Cup and Super Cup Series. Definitely excited to have this race on the schedule here. Of course, I always have preferred the older Atlanta, but I have heard a lot of guys say this track is definitely growing on them as we're here for the Southern Spiral Pipe 200 at Atlanta Super Speedway. So definitely excited to see what these guys have in store for us. We're seeing a lot of guys, from what I've been seeing in practice, guys kind of dragging on the ground in the corners here. These cars really low to the ground here. Of course, we're going to have 134 laps here tonight, so can't wait to see what that looks like. And I have heard that tire wear actually does make a difference at this track, so that is a little bit of an interesting thing that usually you don't see at a super speedway. So definitely curious to see how that all is going to work out. Of course, I am joined in the booth by my partner in crime, Mr. Big Al. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good there, Brian. Kind of excited about being here in Atlanta. Honestly, to be honest with you, yeah, I was a fan of the old Atlanta, but I will definitely tell you after putting some laps around this track here this week, I'm a fan of the new Atlanta as well. So I think tonight we're going to have ourselves quite a spectacle for racing here. I do believe.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Is a spectacle for sure. As qualifying is underway. We'll take a look at some of the guys out there on the track right now. Quite a large field we have, too. I mean, over 30 drivers making their way out here onto the racetrack. Had a large field at Road America on Thursday, too, so was surprised to see that. But definitely not a surprise to see a lot of guys at a track like this. A lot of people love those super speedways. I think everybody really has a chance to win. But then again, I don't know. I mean, this is going to be a whole new can of biscuits, as Big Al would say. But let's take a look at the race facts for the night. Of course, this is the Southern Spiral Pipe 200. 134 laps, as I said before. Stages are going to be on lap 25 and 50. We're going to have 5 tire sets. That means 4 down in the pits. So tires are definitely going to be at a premium here from what I've heard. Speed-wise, I do believe, you will see some guys have some fall-off, even though this is a super speedway type racetrack. Fuel window is 45 laps, so I do believe in that final stage, we should be able to see maybe some green flag pit stops, depending on how clean this is. I know you said that you actually turned some laps. I know in a fixed setup race. I mean, I know this is difference between open and fixed, but still, I mean, do you think we're going to see any cautions here tonight, Big Al?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cautions are going to be prevalent here tonight. Drivers are definitely, because this is a racy track. It's a fun track. It's different. It's not like the Atlanta that we're used to. Guys are going to be actually able to run full throttle around this track here tonight. That's something you've not been able to do before. So it's a 1.52 super speedway, and as those tires do fall off, we will see drivers actually probably starting to kind of conserve a little bit because the cars will actually start to wash up. But I think because it is a super speedway style race, and I do believe that we do have the possibility for the big one and beyond.
The big one is definitely a kind of a thing that we're definitely have a potential of seeing here tonight. Just considering, I mean, the old Atlanta was a little bit wider. Also, they narrowed this track up a little bit, which is going to kind of have some choke points. One thing we're also going to probably maybe see is you see how big that apron is down there. I don't believe in I don't know if there's really a rule against going down there. And it actually seems like it's possible. I'm curious if that might burn the tire up though, and could cause some problems. So, like if someone goes down there and they're not clear to come up, I mean, it's always the responsibility of the driver that goes down there below the apron to be able to get themselves back up onto the racetrack. The guys up on top do not have to let that guy come back up.
And I think you're spot on there, Brian. I do believe if guys are going to go down there and say risk it for the biscuit, trying to utilize the majority of that racetrack, especially coming around the start-finish line there, it will be problematic. So the key thing is going to be, just like you said, if drivers are going to go down there, they got to be aware because no one has the yield to let you back in. So if we do see guys trying to take every advantage of every paved surface of the racetrack, it's just going to make it that much more intense and that much more caution heavy, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, even though you probably, I know in real NASCAR or in the real life Cup Series, I don't believe that they're allowed to go down there really. But I don't believe there's a rule really against it in iRacing. But it definitely can provide some very hairy situations if guys get ultra aggressive and don't want to wait in line and they try to make a move like that. I mean, I understand maybe on the last lap I definitely could see a move like that being worthwhile, but I just don't know if that will be the case here, especially early in this race. We'll have to see what everybody's cars look like. I have seen it, like you were mentioning, in practice. A lot of guys are getting really tight, it seems like, in that draft, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But qualifying is wrapping up now. We'll take a step away and play our national anthem. We'll be right back.
drivers, start your engines!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We do have the grid set here for tonight. Looking at it right now, Wayne Grossi. Nice. I do believe this might be one of his first poles I think I've ever seen or witnessed here. Glad to see him, though. He's going to be starting on the front row in first place. Austin Story going to be starting in second place. Matt DeCiani in first place. Carl Dodson going to be starting in fourth place here. Fifth place is going to be Jason Baker. Sixth place is going to be Mark Sanchez. Seventh place, Joseph Lester. Eighth place is going to be Mark Pageant. Ninth place, Thomas O'Hara. And rounding out our top 10, Kenny Powell.
And that's going to put John Mullins in that 11th place. Alongside him is going to be Andrew Bedrosian. Next to them is going to be Lucas Abreu with Craig Johnson. Following those two is going to be Clayton Hoffman and Jeffrey Souza. And 17th is Brian Johnson and J.C. Nobrega. And that's going to put Greg Wachinski alongside Josh Schaffner at 19th and 20th.
Andrew Grisbaum's going to be starting here in 21st. Al Kozlowski going to be starting here 22nd. Chris Johnson going to be 23rd. Paul Olson in 24th. Greg Bartlett 25th. Danilo Coelho is going to be starting here in 26th. And as I do believe he told us last week, Dan the Rabbit is probably the best way to, the name to call him there. But Derek Jacobs going to be starting in 27th. 28th is going to be Kendall Levron. And Randy Drumhiller is going to be 29th. Andrew Layton going to be in 30th. And rounding out our 31-car field here tonight, Robert Pattengale.
Hey, and we are getting ready to take this field and get it going here. This pace car will soon be leading off. And Brian, what are you anticipating are going to be some of the challenges that these drivers are going to face here tonight as we attempt to get 134 laps in around this 1.52 mile oval?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's going to be some very interesting racing. I think, as I mentioned before, I think the aero push is going to be something that these guys are going to definitely have to deal with. So that leader is probably going to be very much benefiting from that clean air. Both lines could be definitely very viable. It's all going to be about who you have with you. So I think this is one of these tracks where, team players is going to be what it's all going to be about. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to have a dance partner as this thing progresses. And, you hit something, Nell, you hit something, you said something that I would like to comment on, but I can't even remember what it was because I lost my words.
Alrighty then. But I do believe we should be pulling off of the grid here any time now. And a big shout out to Southern Spiral Pipe for coming on board here for tonight's race. Definitely glad to see those guys out and about. I know Brian Johnson, I do believe, and Chris Johnson usually have those guys on their cars. So definitely glad to see them being represented out here. Also, big shout out to Buttkicker for coming on board for this whole season here.
Yeah, I remember what it was. The big thing is 2x2 racing is something that we're definitely going to see. But occasionally we're going to actually see drivers get kind of dumped off in the middle there, and that's going to make it 3 wide. Also, we're going to have that lap car condition here as this thing goes on, and that's also going to make it very interesting as we progress in the laps of this race.
Yeah, and just like any other, super speedway type style race, I mean, when you lose the draft, you're going to find yourself going a lap down fairly quickly, just considering when this whole pack is all together, they're going to be rolling at quite a high rate of speed, that's for sure. So that makes that lap traffic even more dangerous, considering they will be a lot slower than the actual main pack here, as we see the pace car pulling off of pit road here. Interested to see what the tire life looks like. I mean, I know that the tires do matter here, which is shocking to me, because usually when you see super speedways, super speedway style racing, tires really don't matter very much at Daytona or Talladega. But it seems like this is kind of almost like a little bit of a hybrid. So even though I definitely do miss that old Atlanta, that track with such character, this is going to be a little bit interesting too to see how, like I said, the tires wear and how this is, I would say it's a hybrid.
It is a hybrid, and that's exactly the reason why they developed this track that way. So you're going to see drivers trying to make it work, and I hope that outside line, if drivers stick with it, they will try to make it work. Now, I've seen in practice as well as in racing, sometimes that outside line doesn't get to moving quite as well as the lower line. But, the biggest thing is drivers going to have to be very aware and try to avoid those three-wide conditions as often as possible as we get ready and the pace cars leading this field down along the backstretch.
And what really was kind of interesting to me is that the lap times we're seeing here. I know in qualifying and in practice we're seeing like 31-second laps. Usually in a mile and a half you see closer to a low 30, maybe even a high 29. But lap times are a little bit higher here, surprisingly. But here we go, the green flag out in the air as they enter the Geico restart zone. Wayne Grossi not getting the best start. Austin Story getting a perfect start there. Carl Dodson going to try to work his way up there to him to aid him along. And he was the fastest in practice, if I'm not mistaken, Carl Dodson was. Matt DeCiani going to be changing lines, drifts up to the top. Jason Baker going to take advantage and get right alongside him. Wayne Grossi falling back right now. Top line having some big momentum here. Jason Baker's got to give a shot to the 7 car to maybe get him up to speed.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for these guys to get going here, but it's that 42 of Carl Dobson is on that outside line. He's got Matt DeCiani right behind him, and the 31 car of Mark Sanchez is going to be right up there behind those guys. Also, Joseph Lester. So that outside line is actually starting to shape up now as we go ahead, and it looks like we're going to get our second lap in the books going on to lap 3, Brian.
Carl Dodson definitely seems like he's determined to make that high side work as he's got Matt DeCiani there right behind him. The bottom line looking like it's surging ahead a little bit here. I don't know. Huge run there from Dodson on the front stretch. Joseph Lester has decided to go up there to the top. You do see, like you said, the 31 of Mark Sanchez starting to work his way closer and closer there to Joseph Lester. See Mark Pageant down there on the bottom. He's sticking down there. I mean, I wonder what, we talk about tire wear, if tire wear is such a big deal, which line, I wonder, does burn the most tire?
I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see because usually if drivers are going to be committed, they're going to commit to one or the other. So you see those guys that are running that high line right now. And so this thing is still going green. These guys are still full throttle right here as we see that 42 of Dawson still trying to make it work. Joseph Lester now coming along here, along beside him on the inside. And he's got that 117 of Thomas O'Hara tucked in right behind him. So I think we're going to see a condition here where they start to kind of maybe go to one line or the other here as we look like we're coming up here to around lap 5.
Joseph Lester makes the decision to go back up to the top. He's going to be right up in front of Carl Dodson, but the top lane is just not able to get going here. A lot of times with these kind of tracks, you have to have a lot of people, up there. Mark Pageant looks like he's having a little bit of handling difficulties as he almost seems like he's almost trying to throw a block there on the 95, but just not able to, get in front of him as Joseph Lester gets a push to the back. Oh, Lester thinking about going down to the bottom in front of Pageant. Not able to get there, though. That could have been a hairy situation. Oh, contact.
Contact right there coming around turn 4. Looks like it was just a door bang, and they're going to continue going. Matt DeCiani now will be coming in, and Lester is definitely does not appear that he is very comfortable with the way his car is running. He is just kind of seems to be up and down trying to find the line. John Mullins now finds himself up in the 8th place with Andrew Bedrosian right behind him.
Oh, Bedrosian getting really tight. He has to hit the outside wall. That's going to slow him down right in front of a lot of other drivers.
Yep, Clayton Hoffman, though, actually able to slide right by there on the inside as he continues his bid there to try to get up into the top 10.
3 wide condition is Bedrosian having some issues here. Looks like he's able to get that car back under his power as Kenny Powell is able to make his way up into 11th place.
Lester just got a little bit out of sorts there as he was trying to get in between Dobson and the 117 of Thomas O'Hara. That didn't happen, so that actually caused him to slide up the racetrack. It's going to cost him a couple of positions. Clayton Hoffman, though, pushing Matt DeCiani. These two going to be trying to make that high line work as John Mullins slides down on the inside behind Hoffman. You see the 24 of Powell now coming into the fray.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see the top line's not, doing as well as it could be. But I think that now that Clayton Hoffman and DeCiani have kind of connected with one another, they're starting to really make hay up on the top side.
Yeah, we've seen that top line stall out a lot here as we've done races here. So it's just, I think it's a matter of where they're at in the tire cycle, if that thing's actually going to work or not. But right now we're seeing it's costing those guys some positions. But Dobson, he's been sticking with it, and so far he's been able to maintain 5th position. He has got that 0-2 of Mark Padgett up top now. He's going to be trying to push him along to his share of the lead.
Yeah, I think once everybody saw Matt DeCiani and Clayton Hoppin with such success up there on the top line, they were like, well, we need to get in on this, and it is definitely working right now as they are side by side with right now, I do believe, 3rd place Jason Baker. Soon to be side by side, maybe even for the lead is, look at that Austin Story, late block here. They're going to take it 3 wide.
And that's the scenario that we were talking about right there. Story finds himself right there in the middle. He is going to have to pedal and try to get back in line. If not, he's going to keep sliding back, and he does. But now Powell finds himself on the reverse. He's 3 wide trying to get out of that condition because that 2-4 gas and go car is doing exactly what I think it needs to do. So Wayne Grossi now finds himself up in the lead.
Wayne Grossi, of course, was our pole sitter. Definitely showing a lot of pace here. He's definitely one of the guys that I think should always be on our minds when it comes to a race like that. If he's still race like this, if he's still out here driving, I do believe he's going to have himself a chance here.
Yeah, Austin Story dropping all the way back from the lead back to 7th place. Now he's got Joseph Lester. He's going to be peeling right in behind him. So now he went from having that clean air to having to definitely deal with the dirty air, and I don't think his car is going to be liking that too much there, Brian.
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head there. You know, dirty air versus clean air here is just astronomical difference here. But I think it's all going to be about adapting at a track like this and making the right decisions. You know, super speedways in general, they might not take a whole lot of skill, but they take good decision making.
Kenny Powell slides up and makes a little bit of contact with that outside wall.
And that's going to give a chance here to, I do believe, John Mullins, who's going to try to go underneath him. But he doesn't have much help, so I don't believe he's going to be able to do it. Well, he is side by side. Looks like he is able to get that pass done, and he's going to work his way up into 12th.
And just like that, speaking of 12th, we are down just a little bit, over halfway here in this first stage. Drivers definitely should be feeling their handling woes now as that car is going to be doing what it's going to do right about now halfway through. It looks like that 117 is actually going to be battling outside of Austin Story there for what looks like to be 2nd place.
A little bit of a, 2-car breakaway right now as Wayne Grossi and Jason Baker start to pull away here. It seems like, being side by side, I think that what's really hurting a lot of these drivers is, that side draft is just, they're slowing each other down here. As Joseph Lester gets really tight, almost comes up into Austin Story there.
Yeah, sometimes it does get just a little bit sporty once you're trying to make those turns there. Story now is finding himself on that high line, and just like I said, that high line seems to have stalled a little bit.
Definitely a lot of battling going on here back further in the pack. We do see, I do believe, the 9 of Lucas Abreu. He's also trying to work his way through Bedrosian. He has been having some issues when it comes to handling also all over the place. Oh, he's going to come down and almost tag Al Kozlowski. Might have been a tiny bit of contact there.
Just like that, Clayton Hoffman finds himself up into the top 5 now. He is going to be on that back bumper of Joseph Lester as these guys are realizing that I do believe it is go time. Time for these drivers to try to figure out if they're going to be actually, how many points do you need as the playoff looms right out there in the distance. So drivers definitely going to have to shake it up a little bit.
The 9, Lucas Abreu tags the outside wall. I think this is that portion right now where, guys are starting to feel the tight conditions here. Lap times have slowed down significantly, half a second so far.
Yeah, Clayton Hoffman pushing that 95 of Joseph Lester, trying to get him on down the road there just a little bit, because on the inside of him, the 02 and the 95, I bet the 02 and the 117 are doing the same.
Take a nice cockpit camera here at Clayton Hoffman as he does try to push Joseph Lester around. You can see, look at the run he gets up here and gets a huge bump to Joseph Lester.
Now, he's just got to be careful because he doesn't want that 19 of Austin Story to kind of put him where he has that accordion effect.
Yeah, for sure. You don't push the pusher here, and you don't push into corners. This is looking really hairy. As Thomas O'Hara was flirting with the idea of going to the top, but just decided against it.
Had just off the pace just a little bit there, and that's going to allow that 42 Carl Dobson to come back into the fray. And so we've got 19 laps in here on the lead so far. Just about 5 to go in this thing, Brian, and it's been green and clean so far.
Yeah, that it has. It's been very clean and green, side by side with Clayton Hoffman, Mark Paget. Still trying to get that top line working, but I just think it's petering out. These guys don't have enough numbers up there to make that thing work. But here comes Joseph Lester back up to the top to try to get around Thomas O'Hara, but he does not have a lot of help right now.
And you see every time he goes up there, he just gets reeled in a little bit. That 0-2 being a bit of factor every time he steps out. But way to go, Wayne Grossi, as he has pretty much been dominating this entire first stage. Did get off to a little bit of a shaky start there, but I think he has recovered. And now, I mean, if the 51 doesn't give him too much bumper, Grossi's in a great position right now.
That he is here. We're on the white flag, or actually we have 5 laps to go here in the stage. As the stage will end on lap 25, so Wayne Grossi probably holding on for dear life to try to hold on to this lead and get himself a stage win. That would be some great points here for his hopes in trying to get into these playoffs. Definitely some exciting racing going on. And the fall off is a lot more than I thought it would be. I mean, a second of fall off so far from these drivers. I mean, a lot of guys are suffering from those handling conditions. So who would have known, having a long run set up at a super speedway would be a thing.
Baker now is going to go ahead and he's going to move around Grossi on the outside, take the lead. Joseph Lester now finds himself up in 3rd place, which is actually good. Clayton Hoffman trying to hold on to 5th place, but he's got Austin Story driving on the inside of him, and that might give Story the advantage there and put him up into the 5th place position. Well, the 6th place position, that's going to knock Clayton Hoffman all the way back to 7th.
Joseph Lester really trying to make his way up into the lead here as he's side by side with 2nd place Wayne Grossi, but he does not have any help. When you dive out there by yourself, he's trying to even side draft Grossi really close. When you don't have help up there and you go up there by yourself, I mean, you're going to hit a wall of air that's going to slow you down. And that's, I think, what Joseph Lester's having to deal with here. But Austin Story has got up to that back bumper, but Joseph Lester all out of sorts. Oh, here we go, changing for the lead here. Jason Baker having some handling woes himself, probably not used to being in that clean air. Jason Baker checking up a lot of the guys on the bottom line. The top line starting to move here is Wayne Grossi trying to remain in control here, but Joseph Lester trying to take it away. And one thing I think that leads to a lot of this tight conditions that a lot of these guys are having right now is as I mentioned whenever we were watching these guys in practice and qualifying, these guys are dragging on the racetrack. I think, just wanting to be as low as you possibly can to try to get as much, that necessary downforce. It is really important, but it definitely could lead to some tight conditions if you are a little bit too low.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of these cars are getting tight, but if drivers are going to make, Lester is really getting loose there, that's going to put Grossi down on the inside of that red line. He's going to be slowly trying to make his way back up without losing too many positions here, as we have one more to go here before this stage is in the books.
And anybody's guess who's going to win it here. Joseph Lester and Austin Story side by side. And it does look like Austin Story going to take stage 1. And we should see the caution here now as we have completed stage 1 here. Austin Story going to manage to grab the stage 1 victory. Joseph Lester in 2nd place. Jason Baker going to hold on to 3rd here. 4th place is going to be Mark Paget. Wayne Grossi is going to be in 5th. 6th place is going to be Carl Dodson. 7th place, Clayton Hoffman. 8th place, Thomas O'Hara. And 9th place, Matt DiCiani. And rounding out our top 10 here is Mark Sanchez, I should say. Definitely an exciting stage 1, an exciting beginning to this race. Surprised we didn't see any cautions. This being such a, you would think this would be a very caution-filled type of a racetrack. But these guys did a wonderful job out there, Big Al. Even we saw some problems, but they still were able to hold it together.
Yeah, absolutely. And the key of it is everybody's being patient. There's a lot of giving and taking going on out there, but drivers definitely being cognizant, not pushing the issue. We saw a couple 3 wide conditions that really, were kind of unavoidable, but once again, drivers kept their head on the swivel there and kind of got it back to pace. So all in all, an excellent first stage. With that, Brian, though, let's take a step away and get a word from our sponsors. See if we can't come back and dial up Austin's story.
Tonight's race is sponsored by Southern Spiral Pipe.
And we are back right now, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody has completed their pit stops there. We did see John Mullins miss his box and have to back it in, so definitely not a mistake you want to make here, especially when we have some green flag pit stops later in this race. I do believe we have Austin Story going to be joining us in the booth, Big Al.
Hey, Austin, how's it going there? This is Big Al up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Wow, congratulations to a very hard-fought first stage victory, man. What was going on down there? What was it like?
It was craziness. Tire wear in these cars are surprisingly high at this track, so the car was driving awfully at the end. Getting free in the entry of the corner, really tight in the middle, just was not driving good. And it's craziness when you have all these cars around you. So gotta try and save a little bit more tire this run at a super speedway. So yeah.
Yeah, who would have ever thought you'd hear that, trying to save tire at a super speedway?
Exactly.
But anyway, you guys are back doubled up, man, and then congratulations on your stage 1 victory. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you a little bit later, but before I let you go, man, would you like to do a mini shout-out to anybody?
Yeah, I want to shout out Team Watson. I want to shout out Cyclone, Joseph Lester, my teammate, getting it done. So, yeah, ready to go out and try and win this race.
All right, well, good luck to you for the rest of this thing. Hopefully we can keep it green, and we'll talk at you later.
All right, thank you, man.
That was Austin Story, our Stage 1 victor. And I don't think anybody can predict who's going to win Stage 2 with the way that one wrapped up there. As space car lights are out, we're on the backstretch, soon to be getting back racing here. And definitely excited to see what these guys have in store for us. Interested, though. I mean, we've seen some guys starting to work their way through the field, maybe under those pit stops. Greg Wachinski has now worked his way up to 6th place. Haven't seen him really in the top 10 all night long, but here he is.
Yeah, also Kendall LeVon is making an appearance into the top 10 along with Al Koslowski. So, yeah, I think this second stage is going to get kicked off here, Brian, and it's going to be a little bit more exciting than the first stage, but I don't think it's going to be quite as exciting as the third. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's definitely going to be an exciting one here as the pace car down pit road as we going to get ready to enter the Geico restart zone. And here we are, the green flag back out in the air. Austin Story getting a good start. Joseph Lester not having really much help there on the top. Mark Sanchez was just nowhere to be found on that start. Yellow flag's out.
Caution is out already, and we got quite the spectacle going on here in the rear. It's going to take us a little time to sort this one out, but we got definitely quite a few cars that were involved in this mess here, Brian. This looks like
right on the start, too. It was literally as soon as the green flag came out. I do believe we see Derek Jacobs was involved. It was Matt DeCiani gets into the back of Chris Johnson. Oh, my goodness. This is definitely one that is going to be tough to unpack.
Yeah, especially so early in the stage there. I see Paul Olsen taking a nice shot there at the end. A lot of smoke puffing from guys right here. Yeah, early in the stage. So I guess stage 2 will not be clean and green.
I want to take a look back at this with the far chase camera. We see Matt DeCiani gets kind of bumped down by John Mullins. That causes Chris Johnson, I do believe, to have an issue. And Derek Jacobs was just it was. I don't really even blame him for Jacobs getting into the back of Johnson because I mean, how could you predict what was getting ready to happen? I mean, that was just so sudden, and a lot of good cars getting involved in that accident there. You know, at a track like that. Luckily, all the contact that we just saw was right at the green flag. These guys were not up to speed. That's going to help a lot of these guys maybe avoid, you know, really, really crippling that car.
Wow, look at you being the voice of reason in the, you know, the knight in shining lining or whatever. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. The good news for those drivers is they were not up to operating speed. So that probably will keep the damage down to a minimum. But like I said, I think we're just going to get a little bit closer to having, you know, that lap car condition where, and I think that's going to be the trickiest thing about this race here as it wears on. I think once we start getting the lead pack caught up to the tail end of the field, I think that's where we're actually going to have our biggest chances for trouble.
100%. A lot of guys probably going to be taking a trip down pit road to get some damage fixed after that accident. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of places to go when something like that happens. That's for sure. But of course, we'll get back to racing here shortly. And you know, I just think some guys maybe had a bad restart. Maybe somebody started in the wrong gear. I mean, something definitely went wrong there with Matt DeCiani. You know, I think him and John Mullins is kind of, those two having that little bit of contact is kind of what kicked everything off there. And I think everybody that was behind that definitely got quite a scare, that's for sure. And a lot of times, you know, when even though this is, you know, a hybrid, if you will, of you know, super speedway and you know, 1.5 mile racetrack, you know, a lot of times at super speedways, I think the safest place in a lot of ways is the front. I mean, you're probably not safe anywhere, to tell you the truth, but I think the safest place would be being in that lead. Then again, I mean, I have definitely seen my fair share of, you know, the guy that's right behind the leader bumping him and spinning him out. But I mean, you definitely, it's hard to avoid wrecks at a track like this. You know, where everybody gets bunched up so fast.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. We're talking about the big one and the mini big one. That was the mini big one.
Yeah, I still think we definitely have the potential to have that other, the big one. Pace car lights are out, and we're getting ready to go back green here. I am curious, though. I mean, I don't know if I noticed it on the last restart. Mark Sanchez, he's not really catching up there to Joseph Lester on, you know, that's going to hurt Lester's chances here on this start. Like, why are those guys spread out so much up there on the top? It's kind of a curious thing here. But we'll have to see how that kind of turns out. I'm sure Lester's probably getting over the mic and say, hey, get up to my rear end. Come on, man.
Yeah, Sanchez does actually have a little bit of a lag there between him and Lester, and that's got to be kind of frustrating because you do kind of want to get that field as tight as you can, especially on the super speedway, because, you know, the whole thing about this, you got to get a good launch and you got to get that draft established early as the pace car comes down. That 19 of Austin Story is going to waste no time getting us in that Geico restart zone. He's in there now, and the green flag is out. Lester getting a far better start on the outside than he did the last time. Here comes Sanchez up behind him.
I also see Jeffrey Souza up in the top 5 right now. He's going to be trying to push that bottom line along. As Sanchez is going to be able to catch back up to Lester, so I don't believe that was too bad on that. It didn't affect him too bad. But 3 wide here. Jeffrey Souza going to take him 3 wide.
Yep, that's going to put Grassi in the middle, and he has definitely got to get low or high if he wants to maintain his position. But it looks like he is battling alongside of Souza, and that's going to put Lester in the catbird seat. But Lester now actually able to get it back under control, and we are still clean and green.
I was surprised to see the tremendous run that we saw Wayne Grassi get there in the middle. I mean, we saw earlier when guys got shuffled into that middle, they fell back, you know, but Grassi did not. He kept on going and kept that momentum up. Very surprising as we're 2 by 2 for the majority of the field. Awesome Story able to hang on here, but Wayne Grossi, look at the runs he's getting up on the top side. He doesn't even have any help right now, but he's got himself a very good handling car, a very fast car. I mean, he is essentially by himself, except for now Mark Sanchez is starting to work his way closer and closer to maybe help push him along. But I mean, you rarely see that at a super speedway where someone could be by themselves on the top side and have the amount of speed that Wayne Grossi has right now. I think that 7 car is the one we're going to be watching all night long. That Pennzoil machine.
Yeah, that's got to be a great feeling for Grossi, though, to be back up in the front like that, because those guys are having an absolute great night for them. And so far, it's been paying off. If he can keep it clean here through stage 2, heck, he might even pick up a lot more stage points for himself. But that's going to be the key. These guys are going to have to sort this out. Right now, we are still side by side. Looks like Grossi is going to get the better end of the run. That's going to put him down on the inside of that 19th Story. But here comes the 3-1 of Mark Sanchez as he now finds himself up there trying to actually battle for somewhere between 3rd and 4th place at this point.
And one thing you kind of see, oh, look at that. Story almost gets into the back of Wayne Grossi there. That was almost a scary situation. I would be a lot more afraid to bump draft at a track like this.
Well, you know, they have been banging and shoving here most of the evening and most of this week so far at Atlanta, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So drivers, I think, are just going to have to get comfortable with the fact that, you know, we're going to be beating and banging a little bit, even though it is a super speedway kind of hybrid. But Austin Story now using that top line to make it work, as he is still going to be drag racing Wayne Grossi. These two not yet actually able to figure out who is going to be the leader of this thing, but I'm telling you what, it's allowing for some great racing for us. And you know, I don't know which line is dominant right now for the first time tonight. I think that top line might be actually gaining momentum, Brian.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it very much is. Maybe some rubber got laid down. Maybe some track conditions also could have changed or something like that.
You know, another thing was the track conditions and adjustments. And like our leader said there, Austin Story said there, the first stage winner was, you know, he really had to learn that they're going to have to conserve a little bit. I think that was the word that everybody was kind of taking with them, as we are 10 laps to go before stage 2 is in the books.
Yeah, this stage is flown right on by, and we just had a little graphic go up there. Guess what the track temperature is? 128 degrees. That is a hot, hot racetrack. So I would not be surprised if that might be lending a little bit to, you know, these tires burning up a little bit quicker than what these guys maybe expected.
They do call it Hot Atlanta.
That they do. But Austin Story able to control the field up on the top side. Wayne Grossi trying to do everything he can on the bottom. He's got Al Kozlowski pushing him along. Jeffrey Souza has made the switch. He's up onto the top side along with Joseph Lester. Andrew Griesbaum, he is now up in 6th place, side by side with Mark Sanchez, trying to hold on to that position.
Yeah, Brian Johnson actually makes his way into the top 10 with that Southern Spiral Pipe, number 4. That's really awesome for him. Also, he's got that number 9, Lucas Abreu, as he is actually starting to get himself up to the front here for the first time this evening. And these guys are going 3 wide there with Andrew Layton down on the bottom as he's making his run to the front as well.
Now, we saw Andrew Layton, I do believe, was second quick in practice, so no wonder he's been able to work his way through this field. And I think a lot of the guys that were involved in that accident earlier, we don't really see them right here up in this lead pack.
You know, as a matter of fact, a couple of these guys are actually off the racetrack still.
Jeffrey Souza, though, going to claim his share of the lead here. He's going to try to maybe go down in front of no, looks like he's going to stay on the top. You know, one thing you always see at super speedways, you want to try to, you know, work the lines. That's why they called they called Dale Jr. the Pied Piper, because, you know, you work the lines. You go up and down. You try to give that bottom line some draft to get them, you know, to make sure that everybody behind you is side by side.
Yeah, definitely. You want to pick the line that's got the most momentum. And you want to make that decision early enough so you don't get a situation with what Jeffrey Souza has right now, and that is with Joseph Lester, coming down on the inside. That's just going to make everything a little bit more hairy, as the 19 is going to be pushing right up on that 95. He's going to try to get that bottom line exactly where it needs to be, and that's with, being the strongest of the two.
Yeah, huge battling going on right now. Joseph Lester going to be leading some laps out here. We're on lap 46, so 5 laps to go here in stage 2. Still have no clue who's going to, who's going to win this stage, because things could change at a moment's notice at a track like this. And there is some lap traffic going to be coming up off of the apron there. I do believe Kenny Powell, but I think he's probably going to be staying out of the way, as he was involved in that accident earlier, I do believe. But we remain side by side. Kendall LeVron working his way through the field. He's now up to 7th place in that 00. I know Jason Baker, he was running up in front a lot in stage 1. He's now trying to work his way back through the field, as he is sitting in 14th. Mark Sanchez has got himself a fast ride, as he has been running right in the top 5 for definitely a few laps. Joseph Lester trying to control this thing, looking every bit of like Lightning McQueen should, wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here we go.
I
2
think
laps
that,
in the stage. Sorry?
I think that MMR team, they definitely got some pretty fast cars. This Flores definitely does have his car. He's got a rocket ship. You said that yourself. I meant Mark Sanchez. Sorry.
I was about to say, I didn't know if Flores was out here. I think he's a Saturday race.
Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez.
I mean, he's probably happy though that you mentioned him. I mean, I bet his ears are, his ears are ringing, or he probably knows his itching or something. Joseph Lester, though, desperate to try to hang on to this lead here. Austin Story trying to power around on the bottom side. Still anybody's guess here, as the white flag soon to be coming out here for the stage. Big battling, side by side, all up in the top 10. Man, this is some crazy racing as Joseph Lester drives down in front of Austin Story.
They are racy here, boys and girls. That is the truth. If these guys have 2 more turns to go before that is in the books, and Souza is shoving Lester around turn 3, coming into 4.
Yeah, Jeffrey Souza thought about going down there in front of Austin Story, but was not able to get there. And it looks like we are going to complete stage 2 with Joseph Lester going to be our winner here for the second stage. And that's 2 different stage winners here thus far, but this is when the race truly begins, Big Al. And if these guys, the first couple stages were essentially glorified practices to make sure that these guys have the right machine. That way, they could have made some changes. Now's the last time that they're going to have an opportunity to really make some changes here, because when you're trying to pit under green, it's very difficult to make those changes unless you have a crew chief dedicated to helping you out with that. So that's a distinct advantage there in itself.
Yep, absolutely.
But with that, I do believe we'll take a quick step away, and we'll be right back. Hopefully be able to talk to our Stage 2 winner.
Tonight's race is sponsored by Southern Spiral Pipe, proud supporters of the ISCA. We want to thank them for their contributions in helping us do what we all love to do. Southern Spiral Pipe. Buttkicker. Feel what you've been missing.
And
Get
we
yours
are
today
back,
at
ladies and gentlemen.
thebuttkicker.com, and be sure to use Air 20.
Definitely excited to get to talk to Mr. Joseph Lester, our Stage 2 winner. Definitely a great job out there. It's been hard to tell who's going to be able to win these stages, but you were able to work kind of, keep those lines going there. I mean, what are you feeling out there? It seemed like you were having a little bit of, struggling, a little bit maybe in Stage 1, but it seemed like you might have fixed it.
Well, I mean, it was decent in Stage 1. We just didn't have any help. And me and my teammate ended up finishing 1-2 in that. And then same result this stage, except reverse. So we're definitely happy with that. And I was able to get some help from Austin as well during that stage to keep me out front.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have friends out there for sure, and you guys definitely have very fast cars. Definitely a lot of other fast cars out there too. So, what do you think it's gonna take to hold off all these guys?
Well, the longest green flag run we've had is 25 laps, and the tires are pretty bad even after 25 laps. So, just a good handling race car is what it's gonna take, and I'm not sure I have that right now. I'm gonna try to save some tire this stage, and we're probably gonna get a really long green flag run, which means I'll have to save that tire.
Well, we definitely wish you the best of luck, man. Who can we shout out after your Stage 2 victory?
Money House Racing, Cyclone Racing, Money House Graphics for this amazing paint scheme, and you guys up in the booth for doing an amazing job each week.
All righty. Well, we definitely appreciate it, man. We'll let you get back to it. Good luck.
Yeah, 10-4. Thank you.
That was Joseph Lester, our Stage 2 winner, and as we said before, this is when the race is truly going to begin. Everybody side by side, double filed on the backstretch, getting ready to go back green, Big Al.
Absolutely, and I think this is going to be where we're watching to see, because everyone has said it so far. Everyone's mentioned tires. Tires, got to save tires. So this is where this super speedway is going to get really treacherous, and guys are going to have to start dialing up their whatever their best pit strategy is going to be. Because right now, I mean, you got to at least make it 50, at least 30 laps if you want to be able to kind of even have yourself in a position. But I think tire wear, I think that's what we're watching.
Yeah, I think that's going to make when you decide to pit that much more important. Maybe try to split it in half or maybe go a little bit longer. That way you're on newer tires later. It's the green flag back out in the air. As we mentioned before, 45 laps is the fuel window. So definitely going to be probably looking to see guys. Maybe I would say if I was a bet man, I'd say 100 is probably when we're going to see the majority, maybe 95, somewhere in there. But side by side for second place, Austin Story and Wayne Grossi. These two teammates getting split up right now, but looks like Joseph Lester, because of that, going to go to the top to help out his buddy.
It's just it's going to determine who's got their setup set for the long haul. And the 19 Story is going to be pushing that 95 Lester. These guys, like you said, they've been working together all week, so they know about how to run this. And Lester said it best. He was going to try to save some tire.
Yeah, they might have been a completely voluntary thing there. These guys falling back a little bit here. We see Kendall LeBron's working his way now up to third place. Grossi's back in the lead. Souza at second. And the top five right now are single file. Everybody back behind that, sixth on back, are all double file.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with actually falling in line here and actually letting the draft do its thing, because this is a track that the draft is prevalent. So, why not go ahead and fall in single file line here? Let's just try to put some miles down. It's because smiles are going to equal smiles. Smiles equal smiles in this situation.
We definitely appreciate everybody out here tuning in to the Southern Spiral Pipe 200 here at Atlanta Super Speedway. Side by side right now with Lucas Abreu and Mark Sanchez. Jason Baker going to give him some very good pushes there.
But Sanchez has just been chilling all night in that high line, so I think he is right where he wants to be. And if he's got his car set up where that's where it's going to run for him, then why not stay there? But Alex Koslowski's got to be feeling pretty good right now. He's running consistently up in the top 10, and that just means that, hey, his car must be handling and running pretty good at this stage of the contest.
You know, I'm surprised to see Chris Johnson doing as well as he is right now. He's on the verge of working his way into the top 10 here. We saw earlier he was involved in that kind of catastrophic mini big one, I guess you could say. And his car's still running. Surprised to see, you know, he's doing very well right now. Wayne Grossi, though, in control of the race. One thing about it, though, we talk about it all the time when we come to these super speedway type races. Him being up in the front,
Oh, Robert Pattingill looks like he is losing it right there.
Somehow we're going to stay green. Didn't see exactly what happened there. But Josh Schaffner going to definitely benefit from it as he drives his way around. Did he touch the apron there, Big Al?
Well, I don't know. I started yelling at my computer immediately. Took me somewhere else.
Oh, no. Joseph Lester and Austin Story still working together here. Andrew Griesbaum has caught up to the back here. Also, Lucas Abreu. Pretty much single file here, all up in the front. But as I was saying, you know, that guy that's in the lead, he's the one that's going to be burning the most fuel out here on this racetrack. So that's definitely going to be, you know, you think, okay, it's probably not. It's probably a minute amount of difference there between running in clean air versus dirty air when it comes to fuel consumption. But it's not. I mean, it could equal laps, multiple laps that you can make it, or someone can make it rather than not. Ooh, Carl Dodson 3 wide right now with Randy Drumhiller on the outside. This is a scary situation here. Greg Wachinski has got caught by all these guys, so kind of a big cluster of cars right now. Looks like Wachinski's got something going on with that race car. He has slowed down quite a bit.
You know, and I don't think it's going to be a question of fuel. I think it's going to be a question of tires, because even though that fuel run is set at 50, I mean, I do believe drivers are going to be just trying to make it 20 more laps or so, because if they could make it, you know, up to, say, 90, you know, I think it's still going to be a long run, but it's just a matter of how well these guys are going to hold on.
No, I think you're definitely right. You know, you want to try to go as far as you can. That way, you know, whenever you do get out there on those fresh tires, you can just go as fast as you need to go and not have to really worry about it too much.
Yeah, Jeffrey Sousa's going to be moving down to the inside of Wayne Grossi, and he is going to be trying to take the lead. He's got that 0-0. Kendall LeBron also going to be moving on the inside of Grossi, as Grossi is finding himself up in that high line, and right now seems to be by himself, as he is going to fall all the way back, potentially to 7th place, where Lucas Abreu is coming up behind him, behind Andrew Griesbaum in that 78. And if Grossi can't get in, he'll fall even further back.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get in. He's just going to continue to fall back. Everybody is running on the bottom right now. Everybody has conserve in mind, right? I think that maybe that's why Grossi got out of line, but it's definitely going to hurt him when it comes to track position. But at least he still should be within the draft of these other drivers here, because, I mean, you see really the top 9 here, they have left everybody. I mean, looking at Mark Sanchez, he is 2.5 seconds back from this first pack. That is not good. I would not want to be losing the draft here at this track. Of course, he does have a lot of race cars there all lined up there with him. But lap time, actually, I mean, these guys are actually running quicker than that lead pack. So I would not be surprised actually to see Mark Sanchez and all these guys that are all lined up there with him to catch up to that top 9. And if they do, that is going to be a whole can of worms I don't think these guys want to open, Big Al. Looking at lap times, these guys are about a 10th faster than that lead group, but they still have quite a ways to go. 2.3 seconds now separating both of these packs.
Yeah, I think that lead pack just kind of is starting to lift a lot of bit, and that's the reason why you're starting to see that second pack a little bit faster, because they still have the hammer down back there, where I think these guys have kind of found themselves in the cars are just a lot looser, man, because right now, I mean, they're coming up to 20 laps on these tires, and that puts us halfway into the contest. So, yeah, I think they're starting to feel it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think one thing that could also be slowing this front pack down is Wayne Grossi, to be honest with you. I've not done anything against him, but, he's trying to go side by side, and, all these guys are out here racing for position. That further back pack, they're all single file. They're not really racing each other. I think everybody is just kind of definitely content to just stay in line, but looks like Rossi's decision here might be paying off here. As Jason Baker and Lucas Abreu are pushing the heck out of him, and he's starting to make his way closer back to the front, maybe to take lead. And look at that. We saw it on our screens just now. Lap traffic is going to be at play here.
Yeah, that is going to be the key part, and that's what I said. You're going to have that, and I call it a lap car condition, and that is actually going to be coming up here pretty soon. But way to go, Wayne Grossi, as he has battled all the way back up, and now him and Jeffrey Souza are going to be battling it out. But that 51, Jason Baker, looks like he is going to help Souza make all the differences now. Baker moves into second place in that high line. And we're going to see if Grossi can make that high line work as well as he did, the low line work as well as he did the high line.
Yeah, Baker has him a very fast ride right now. I mean, we saw him earlier. He was back there in 14th, worked his way all the way up here. So he definitely has the ability to drive his way through the field. And that's what you want with a car at a track like this. You want to be able to drive through the field at a moment's notice.
Yeah, Lucas Abreu is doing the same thing as he is on a roll. So coming by that 27 car, I believe that's Derek Jacobs. He is going to find himself going another lap down, as he was involved in that earlier mini big one.
Well, it looks like Lucas Abreu, everybody on the top side kind of just ditched Lucas there. I do believe once the lap traffic kind of came involved.
Yeah, now he's going to be pushing Story down, and here comes Koslowski bringing up the rear. They're still kind of 3 wide, and that's what we're going to be running into. That's called that lap car condition is what Big Al's calling it.
Jeffrey Souza loses the lead. He's now back. Oh, contact with the wall there for Souza. He gets all out of sorts. Now Jason Baker, your new leader. Something's going on with Souza's car. I don't know what was his. Maybe his car doesn't like that top line. Could be. I don't know.
Well, all the drivers said the longest green flag run we'd had has been 25 laps. Well, guess what? We're coming up on 25 laps. This would have been about that time where that stage would be ending and guys will get some reprieve. Well, right now, all they got to look forward to is another 25 laps.
That's right. I mean, these guys are going to be going further than they ever have, or they ever have here tonight. So I'm curious to see how that all is going to work out. I think Sousa's definitely burnt that stuff up here.
And if you look at the fall off in the lap times, I mean, it's over a minute and a half. I mean, a second and a half.
I was about to say, wow.
Work with me here.
A minute and a half. Imagine if that was the fall off. Man, these guys would just be. They just need to go ahead and change the tires. But I mean, yeah, you're right though. A second and a half. That's a lot of fall off.
Yeah, they're probably feeling like it's a minute and a half, man, because that second and a half is a way different, than that 30-second lap that you're running. Because right now, you're going to be fighting that car the whole time.
And we were talking about that other pack. They were starting to catch up to these guys. They're no longer catching them anymore. Andrew Layton right now side by side with Carl Dodson here, working to try to see if he can't get 10th away. But this is not the choice I would be making. I would not be trying to race each other back here. I think the whole goal of this backpack here should be catching that front pack, and I don't think that's what is on their minds right now.
Yeah, and I think right now everybody's waiting for a caution, but nobody wants it right now. I think 10 more laps is what you're going to be hoping. And if that caution comes out in 10 laps, well, that's a whole different race, because at that point, within 10 laps, these guys will actually be able to go the distance. Still having 59 laps to go in this contest, but I'm just going to say it's been remarkable so far with only having one caution outside of those 2 stages. And the 2 guys that were the 2 teammates that were dominating those stages right now, well, they're still out here right in the thick of things, as Jason B. Baker finds himself up front for the first time this evening. He's our new race leader. Kendall LeBron holding on to that 3rd place spot. He has got Wayne Grossi there in a little bit of a pinch. I'm sure Grossi is going to be trying to go low or high to get around that 51 of Baker, but right now I think he's just got to ride.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are finding themselves going up the track a lot here. I think, tight condition, I think, is starting to be prevalent a little bit here. I know they kind of talked about it, the guys we were interviewing, I think it was Joseph Lester, it might have been Story, that said, on entry to these corners, it's getting really loose as, when you get later into this run. But I think on exit, I'm sure it's probably getting a little bit tighter, and that's why a lot of these guys are going up the track a little bit and trying to, maybe be able to hold that momentum even though they are getting tight.
Yeah, this is probably the time of the race where it's not your favorite race and it's not your favorite car, You're just in there just holding on because, guys, it's going to get racy. And that's the thing. It's going to get racy before it's not because guys got to start trying to figure out this position thing. And next thing they're going to be working on is pit strategy. When are we coming? Because I think that's going to make a big difference here, especially if we don't see another caution.
Oh yeah, you're definitely right about that. I mean, I don't think we might not see another caution. I mean, this has all the looks of a clean and green race here. That we're definitely. I think I would want to bet. I think we're going to have some green flag pit stops here. And when do they come down? Is the big question. I would say 90 to 95, and I think you kind of echoed that same kind of thing.
I think you got to be trying to talk the guy into staying out as long as you can. As the 14 of Sousa gets very close to the 9 of Abreu. These guys have been tucking in there behind each other, making it nice and exciting here for the last couple of laps. That 95 of Joseph Lester, he's just hanging out there in that high line, still making it work. But, hey, once again, I think the story right now is the fact that Jason Baker still leading this thing.
Yeah, that one thing is, we saw, Chicagoland. Jason Baker saw his first win. Look at that old problems for Lucas Abreu.
The 9 of Abreu is all over. He hit that inside. He hit that red line a couple of times, and that because we saw some sparks there. I don't know what happened, but definitely got a little bit out of sorts and off the pace.
Yeah, we saw a lot of sparks there. That was kind of very interesting to see that. Seems like he's definitely having some handling conditions, but we're in the unknown right now. You've mentioned it. We've mentioned it several times. This is the furthest these guys have gone. I think a lot of these guys, they are in that unknown period right now. They don't know how the car is going to react, and I think Lucas Abreu is right now in that same position. Jason Baker, though, seems like he's got the best handling car right now tonight. Wayne Grossi also has been showing a tremendous amount of pace, and as I was mentioning before, Jason Baker, he won his first race just a few weeks ago, Big Al, and could he get another win? You see that a lot where a guy gets his first win, then he starts winning left and right.
Yeah, we still got a lot of racing left to go as we are still not within our fuel window even. So I don't think we want to crown anybody just yet. I think we're just going to have to let this one play itself out.
You know what I'm saying? That is definitely a trend that seems to happen, though. You can see that guy get that first one. That's when he starts winning more. Because you get that first win, that's what gives you the confidence to win again. Because you can do it instead of it being that, I might be at a win. I think I can. But Jason Baker, he knows he can. And, any of the previous winners in this series, they know they can. And when you know you can win, that's when you're willing to make those race-winning moves. Wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, absolutely. But right now, I think we are finally finding ourselves into our pit window. So now, if the caution were to come out, these guys would actually be able to make it on fuel. So now, it's just going to see just how long before drivers actually start to trolley on down pit road.
And somewhat of a three-car breakaway here is Jason Baker, Wayne Grossi, and Kendall LeBron all driving away. Of course, Joseph Lester, he's going to be trying to catch back up here. He, of course, has lost touch with his teammate there, Austin Story. He's back there in 7th. But green flag pit stop should be kicking off very, very soon here. Jeffrey Souza having a little bit of handling woes here is Al Kozlowski able to make his way by and work his way up into 5th place. Al Kozlowski's been looking pretty good here tonight, and no wonder. That Speedway's Angels machine has always found himself very comfortable at tracks like this. Joseph Lester has caught up to the back of Kendall LeBron and tried to make something happen, but lost a little bit of momentum because of that. That's going to put Al Kozlowski side by side here for 4th. Jeffrey Souza looks like he's going to go down to the bottom and push Al Kozlowski around. Surprised Austin Story doesn't go up there and try to help his teammate Joseph Lester. And as the tires have worn, we've seen a lot of spreading out happening here. I mean, Andrew Grisbaum, Lucas Abreu. Oh, Abreu having a big problem. He somehow saves that.
Abreu has definitely been having himself a lot of handling woes, especially in this last stage.
We're now 88 laps into this thing, and yeah, he's definitely having a lot of woes right now. Probably begging to probably tell his crew to get ready. He's coming down pit road. I would say he's going to be coming down very soon here. You see also Carl Dodson and company starting to catch up to him, so going to see him probably being enveloped by this pack, and him having handling problems could cause what we don't want to see, a caution. Here comes Dodson catching up here. He's going to go underneath the 9 car. Closer up front here, we see Al Kozlowski challenging for 3rd place on Kendall LeBron. He's on the inside. Jeffrey Souza once again going to choose to go with Kozlowski. As Wayne Grossi and Jason Baker are in control. Now on lap 90, so the pit window is definitely wide open. These guys, anytime we're going to see these guys starting to bleed right down pit road, as we're now 38 laps into this run. Man, that is a substantial amount on these tires. You can see the fall off has definitely been prevalent here. 1.6 seconds was the last lap for Jason Baker. A lot of other guys are slowing down even further than that. I mean, there's even a 32-second lap out there from Kendall LeBron. A little bit further back in the pack, we see Clayton Hoffman side by side with Mark Sanchez fighting for 15th. I think a lot of these guys in this second pack, they probably desperately want to see a caution of some kind here.
Yeah, but I don't think a caution is what they need. I think right now you just gotta run your race. I mean, this is what you knew you signed up for. This is what everybody wanted. You know, you should have had that long setup in there, and now you're getting it. With 50 laps to go in this thing.
No, I definitely understand what you're saying. I just think that, it's going to be hard for Carl Dodson to make up. He's got like 5 seconds. Up to the leader, he actually is 8 seconds away from Jason Baker, which Wayne Grossi and Jason Baker have really started to pull away now, as they have now a second back to Kendall LeBron. These guys have that long run car. I think what you were just talking about, long run, these guys got it right now. They are just so fast, faster than everybody on the racetrack right now. I would not be surprised to see one of these two in victory lane. I mean, I know we still have a lot of racing left to go, and we still got green flag pit stops that have to happen. And if you can mess up under a yellow flag pit stop, but you can't mess up under a green flag. You have to get that right, otherwise, you speed anything. Oh, Wayne Grossi getting loose on the bottom there. As I do believe we saw Robert Pattendale even coming off of pit road there.
You're gonna have to pit eventually, and then those pits are gonna occur under green flag conditions, which means, you got to be spot on. We saw drivers overdriving their pit stalls even under yellow, so the pressure is gonna be on for these guys performing. There it is, Josh Hoffner coming down. He was actually tagged by the O2.
Also our leader, Jason Baker, down pit road, and Wayne Grossi.
That was almost your caution there. Hoffman was trying to make his way down the pit road. He actually got tagged by the O2 of Mark Patrick.
Oh, no. Jason Baker misses his box. He has to kick it in reverse. He was our leader. He is no longer going to be our leader after that mistake.
I think that's what Big Al was trying to say.
You were talking about Patton, I do believe, or Pattengale or something.
No, I was just saying that the drivers are going to have to pit. These pits aren't given.
Well, I understand. I was just pointing out something that happened that definitely was going to be detrimental to the race lead here. Carl Dodson is now our leader. As everybody, we still have a lot of guys that have yet to pit. Green flag pit stops are underway.
Yeah, Randy Drumhiller and also Andrew Griesbaum making their way up the ladder there. Those guys got to be feeling pretty good as Dobson's going to come down pit road.
Oh, and almost some problems here on pit road as Dodson locks it up. Drumhiller almost gets into him. That's going to put Andrew Layton as our leader. He has quite a little bit of a distance there back to Clayton Hoffman.
You know, with 37 laps to go, the longer I think these guys stay out, the better off they're going to fare because they'll actually be able to put the hammer down, especially barring some late race caution. But right now, it looks like green flag pit stops are just going through, and everything is going as scheduled.
It definitely seems that way. Definitely everybody taking care of it, trying to do as the best they can here. That's all you can do. I mean, you just got to make sure you don't make any mistakes on pit road. And, you know, Jason Baker, I think he had the speed to maybe come home with a win tonight, but that was just a huge mistake, and you don't want to do that. I mean, a lot of these guys are going to definitely have to mind their P's and Q's here. But, I mean, no wonder these guys are making mistakes on pit road, though. I mean, think about it. You're going from, you know, 180, 190 mile an hour down to just, I don't even know what the pit speed is here, probably 55?
Yeah, I believe it's 45.
And that's even worse, having to get that speed down to that much. I mean, that is got to be difficult and easy to lock those tires up, I would say. What's really interesting about this, you know, kind of a hybrid here, usually we go to the super speedways, you know, Talladega or Daytona, you know, guys don't take tires, you know, a lot of times on those pit stops. These guys are, so a lot of, you know, a little bit more length in the pit stops probably going to be, and a lot less, I think, wiggle room when it comes to what strategies you could take. Because, I mean, you see it, some of the other super speedways, you see guys take 2 tires, you see guys take no tires. You don't really have that here. I mean, could we see someone?
No, I think you're taking 4 tires of fuel when you stop. I don't even think it's an option, especially at this stage in the race. You know, because if you want to get back out there and be able to run and get those speeds up where they need to be, you're going to have to be competitive. So, you know, kudos to the guys that are still out there that haven't pit yet. Andrew Layton, Clayton Hoffman, Josh Hoffman.
Yep, the top, I do believe, 8 have yet to pit. Well, actually, no, Austin Story, I do believe, already has pitted here. He's 30 seconds back from the leader. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think everybody, top 4, I do believe, have yet to pit.
The 51 is coming right in. Jason Baker's coming right in the back of Josh Hoffman.
And there we see Brian Johnson going down pit road along with Andrew Layton. Clayton Hoffman staying on the racetrack. Would not be surprised to see him pit any time now, as we are now 50 laps into this stint. The fuel runs window is supposed to be 45 from what I've been told. And I'm surprised that he's made it this far. I mean, 50 laps, and I think that he's definitely reached his limit now, as he is now down pit road. That's going to put Josh Schaffner as our leader.
You know, I knew it was 45, but I do think it's more like 50.
I think you were right. I mean, even though our graphic does say 45, I think you hit it on the head. I think it's 50, because otherwise Clayton Hoffman wouldn't have made it that far. Josh Schaffner is still even pushing the envelope even further, wouldn't you say?
And I think that, you know, he's going to find himself in the best position, because the key is how fast can you go for how long?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to be able to drive it as hard as you can. I mean, look at his lap times. I mean, 32.3 from Josh Schaffner versus everybody else that has pitted here. Wayne Grossi, 30.9. Everybody, you know, 30.6s, 30.3s. I mean, these guys are running some barn burner laps compared to him. But when he does come down pit road, he's going to be running faster than them.
Absolutely. And, you know, we've seen Josh Schaffner pull many rabbits out of his hat. So, I don't think anything's wrong with that. But man, the 14 of Sousa has been pushing the 95 of Lester all day. That has got to be the story of this race. Now it looks like he's going to jump on up there and start pushing the 88 of Kozlowski.
Yeah, and even though, you know, Jason Baker made a big mistake there on pit road, missing his box and having to kick it in reverse, he's still out there doing well right now in the top 5, right behind those two you just mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, he went from the lead to the top 5, so he did pay a little bit of a penalty.
Surprised the penalty wasn't worse, but Austin Story's doing a great job. We saw him, you know, during that last stint kind of fall back away from his compatriot there, or Joseph Lester there. But he seems like, you know, something about Austin Story's strategy here seems like it's working out well for him as he's pushing Wayne Grossi along. And after coming back onto the racetrack, Josh Schaffner has fallen back, I do believe, to 19th. Quite a fall there, but he's going to be able to run faster than everybody else. As long as he can make it by them, though. It's one thing to catch someone, it's another thing to pass.
Yeah, especially this super speedway condition that we find ourselves in. Ooh, Grease Bomb's losing it there a little bit there as he's down on the on below the red line.
See John Mullins, Carl Dodson, and Mark Pageant all working together here. That is 7th, 8th, and a little bit longer to pit, and I think it's really paying off right now as I do believe soon to be having 25 laps to go here in this race. So this thing has flown right on by. We appreciate everybody out there that has tuned in here tonight. Man, what a race here.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And if you're liking what you see, I mean, hey, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube there. Like and subscribe to the ISCA, iRacing Stock Car Association. This race actually being brought to you in part by Southern Spiral Pipe, a good old Southern company with spiral pipe. So that's awesome. So once again, thank you guys for joining us. It looks like we're trying to get this one put here in the books here pretty soon there, Brian.
Yeah, I wonder what they make.
I think they make pipe.
Probably spiral pipes.
I think that's a bit presumptuous.
I love races like this. I mean, even though, you know, we didn't have as much of the strategy when it comes to you know, taking tires versus, you know, not, you know, like we would at other super speedways. I mean, you're still seeing, you know, gaggles of cars that are all kind of working together, you know, all over this racetrack. They're so spread out. I mean, but if a caution came out, that would change literally everything. But I mean, the way this final stage has looked, it does not seem like it's on the docket.
No, but we definitely still have a lot of racing left to go, man. And Lucas Abreu is really shoving Randy Drumhiller around this track, man. He is definitely doing everything he can to get those guys back up here into the mix. And also, you got Clayton Hoffman right there behind him. So this is not this isn't a slouch group at all. Mark Sanchez bringing up the rear of this 4-pack. And then behind him, looks like you're going to have Chris D. Johnson. So these guys are definitely trying to get this show started. And it looks like they are probably one of the faster groups on the racetrack right now, with the exception of Sousa and Baker.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences in speed here. The leaders are starting to come up on a pack of cars in front of them, so we could see some problems here as we see some packs maybe starting to coalesce together. I mean, one thing about super speedways is, you know, even though you might see the whole pack get spread out, eventually a lot of these guys are going to kind of come together, almost like an accordion, you know, kind of almost like gravity in a way, you know, like.
I'll wait.
Wait,
you gotta explain the gravity.
I'm just saying the gravity reference, you know, with like clean air, you know, or dirty air. When you have that draft, you kind of just all start to get back together and start to coalesce.
Oh, kind of like the song. Come together.
Here comes Wayne Grossi on the inside. He saw Austin Story. He fell back a little bit there. I think he might be having some handling woes as Al Kozlowski catches up to him. Here comes
I don't know.
Kozlowski on the inside.
As we're coming in with 20 to go here, though, I think this is the time where everybody just has to be super, super cautious, because the one thing you don't want a caution right now. I think these guys are wanting to run this thing out, because I'm going to tell you what, if we do have a caution this late in the race, it's only going to breed other cautions.
I definitely think you're right. And Wayne Grossi, I don't know what he's doing right here, but he has somehow picked up a lot more speed than that second pack had, as he is now up in front of kind of lap down cars. I mean, these guys, if they keep pushing him, and they'll definitely provide a buffer to that Al Kozlowski led pack.
Yeah, Kozlowski's, though, we can't say anything negative about that Speedway Angels 88, as he is definitely having a very solid run, as he is currently up in second place, and Jeffrey Souza is now back there pushing him. So I think we're just going to watch Souza try to push that 88 as far as he can, but looks like they could be running up into a little bit of lap traffic.
Of course, tire wear is once again starting to show its head here, as these guys are hitting 31-second laps here. We're 24 laps into this run for a lot of the drivers. Some drivers other than some other drivers pitted a little bit later, so some are in 19, 17. Ooh, some contact with the wall there, I do believe, from the 33.
And now just look, just like that, these guys are slowly starting to get Wayne Grossi to show up in their sights. But man, if Grossi can hold these guys off, if he is actually able to use DeCiani and Pattengale as a pick, I mean, what a story he's going to be telling at the end of this thing. But here comes Kozlowski now. He is going to be on the inside of that 22 car.
This is the most scariest situation right here. This is when we had the most potential for a caution here, lap traffic.
Yeah, I think you are absolutely right. This is probably going to be the greatest probability of a caution that we've had thus far, and and that's we got to see if we can get through this.
It looks like the majority of these guys are able to work their way through, though. Jason Baker kind of getting stuck up there on the top trying to follow that lap traffic guy. I think he made a poor decision, but it looks like he's going to be able to try to work his way back up to the back end of Austin Story there.
So what we got here right now shaping up is, don't forget the teammates of Story and Lester, because these two are going to be working together, and now they're getting ready to come up onto the back of Jeffrey Souza, who has got his hands full, as Al Kozlowski is going to put the bumper to Wayne Grossi. Grossi is definitely not going to like that, and I guarantee you, if he gets the opportunity to definitely pay that back, he will, and then some. Kozlowski definitely laying the horn to him.
And I'm surprised at how good Kozlowski's doing right now. He's 27 laps on his tires. He has the oldest tires in the field. He does. He has the oldest tires in this field right now. Everybody else behind him has about 24, 26, 25. He has the oldest. And somehow he's still able to hold a tremendous amount of pace here. So Kozlowski's definitely got him a hot rod. He's been waiting till now to really put his hand down and show what he's got.
Yeah, but the key is going to be, as we get ready, as we come down to 10 to go, these guys' patience are going to start to wane. And at that point, I mean, it's all bets are off. The gloves are going to come off. It's go time, as we'll see Grossi way up on the racetrack now. He is definitely going to be trying to do everything he can just to maintain the pace. But speaking of the pace, it's go time in 2, guys. That's what everybody's saying. Go time in 2.
I mean, I definitely think that Joseph Lester and Austin Story are saying it's go time, as they have got, themselves back, kind of within sight of one another to help each other out. Here comes Jason Baker, going to try to get on the inside of Austin Story. Baker has had one of the fastest cars all night long.
Absolutely, and he has definitely led quite a few laps here, as Jeffrey Souza now is going to be going around Kozlowski on the high side. Here comes Story and Lester. Grossi now going to be driving back on the inside. He's going to be he has got that 88 bumper in his sight. We're going to see if he actually retaliates or if he lets him slide.
Yeah, I would hope he's not going to retaliate here, not this late in this race. But now Jeffrey Souza up in the lead. Oh, yeah, I think he might be right. Grossi's showing a little bit of displeasure here. as they are 2 by 2.
Well, yeah, you should. I mean, yeah, definitely. If he gets an opportunity to tag Kozlowski, he's going to tag him. I mean, that contact was not incidental between those two earlier on, and it did cause Grossi to actually fall quite a bit off the pace. But look at Lester on that high side. He's got his teammate right behind him as he's going to try to pull into the back, and they're going to try to make that draft work. Oh, Lester gets sideways. That puts Story into the 14 of Souza.
How was that not a caution?
Story has definitely got his hands full right now as he has fallen off the pace. That's going to leave Lester all by lonesome.
And Jason Baker right there trying to make something happen. Al Kozlowski giving some big bumps there to Jeffrey Souza. So yeah, side by side, this is some hectic back. Yeah, I could see that. Lester is getting loose up there on the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And that 51 is definitely going to make sure that he assists as much as possible because Mark Baker.
Oh, no! Contact between Souza and Al Kozlowski. That was almost a wreck.
Jason D. Baker, though, right back up front in this thing. He has now got the lead. And nope. Baker off the racetrack and back on. That's going to put Wayne Grossi back out front. And now he has a little bit of breathing room as we're coming with 8 to go. He'll be 7 to go at the line.
Yeah, I don't know if I want breathing room at this point. I think maybe 1 to go, I would want a little bit of breathing room. But at a track like this, you know, if you give anybody an opportunity to draft up to you, they will take it. As Joseph Lester's going to be trying to do exactly that.
Oh, and Baker and Kozlowski are getting into each other. Now it's going to be 3 wide. Story's going to drive high around the outside. Kozlowski definitely, he is hitting everything out there I think that he can get his hands on. DeCiani's going to try to figure out how he can get around Kozlowski.
Got to keep in mind, DeCiani not on the same lap.
Yeah, DeCiani definitely a lap down, but he definitely didn't want to lose any momentum. And speaking of momentum, Wayne Grossi has all that he can as he is going to be leading this field. As he comes around, he will have 5 to go. But the key is going to be which line is he going to choose because he is going to have to make that decision to lay that block at some point. He's going to let Lester go around high on the outside. I don't know if that would have been the choice I would have made. Lester's struggling, though, on that high side as he is going to be off the pace, and that's going to allow Grossi to definitely keep his momentum going. But just like that, the 19 of Story is right back, and he is on his partner's backside. These two are definitely going to be trying to make their move to get up front and stay up front. But Grossi not giving away as here comes Jeffrey Souza down on the inside. He is going to be pushing Grossi. Now we are stacked up 2 by 2, Brian, with 5 to go.
And also tire wear is definitely something that's really going on right now. These guys have fallen off quite a bit. 32-second laps for a lot of these drivers up here in the front. Of course, he's 35 laps into this run for the majority of these drivers here. Jeffrey Souza slowing down a little bit on the bottom there. Wayne Grossi trying to hold off Joseph Lester here. Lester's going to get the run on the top, though.
Yeah, but here's Jeffrey Souza. He is going to push right up to the top there and falling right behind Lester. That means he is going to be trying to get Lester committed to make that high side rope work. But just like that, here comes that 88, and he has got to pull up to the back of the 7. Will he do it the same way he did it last time? Is he going to do it? Oh, there he goes again. He just runs right into the back of him. That was just a little bit of a lump tap, giving that 7 everything that it needs as he's going to be battling Lester as they're coming around turn 4.
I was about to say, I think Wayne Grossi wants him to push him this time. He's like, yeah, give me all you got, buddy. Give me all the momentum you can muster. Here's his 2 on the bottom, and I do believe 6 up on the top side.
Lester
look at Lester.
The wall. That is definitely going to take some speed off of him, and that's going to put Souza definitely in a bad way as Kozlowski is going to be battling to try to maintain that upper hand on the inside lane. Lester still trying to make it work. Here comes Grossi down to the inside to block as we're coming to 2 to go.
Oh, no.
And just like that, he gets sideways.
There it is.
Big crash. That is the big one, ladies and gentlemen. Caution is out.
Man,
definitely
man.
Get a lot of cars called to the hauler on that one, but you know what? We called it. We said it was going to happen. Here we are, 3 to go. Going to be 2 to go. I think this is going to be an opportunity for that green-white checker. So what we're going to see now, everybody should be coming down the pit road, but you know what? I don't know. If you stay out, you're going to maintain that track position.
Yeah, but with the speed.
Choices.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like Al Kozlowski pushed Wayne Grossi up the track into Joseph Lester there. trying to see who else all got involved in that. I think it really was not as many people as it could have been. You see Pat and Gale definitely unfortunate there. He definitely got involved.
Jason
And
Baker,
Lester's still wrecking here.
yeah. Lester's definitely going to have to come down pit road. I mean, if nothing else, he's definitely going to holler at the Goodyear man.
Yeah, definitely.
just,
He's out there doing a burnout, it looks like.
Yeah, well, it's hard to get these things running, especially at this banked angle that we got here at the New Atlanta.
I think there's some major damage wrong with that car. I see a lot of smoke pouring out of it.
He is back up to pace and is behind the pace car.
Joseph Lester's on pit road right now. I
I'm
think
talking about
something's broke.
Jason Baker.
But with that, let's take a step away, and we'll be right back with our green-white checkered. Man, what a long run we had, and now it's going to be decided on fresh tires. Can't wait to see it. We'll be right back.
Tonight's race is sponsored by Southern Spiral Pipe, proud supporters of the ISCA. We want to thank them for their contributions in helping us do what we all love to do. Southern Spiral Pipe.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and very interesting decisions from a lot of the drivers down here. Pace car lights are out. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, the top 8 are all on old tires. Everybody behind them, except for, I do believe, Al Kozlowski. Actually, Kozlowski has just made the trip down pit road. But all the other guys are on new tires. Being how much we've seen tire wear matter here, I don't understand this call. I think that all the guys that just took tires are going to...
Well, I think they made the right call because this is not the green-white checker. So this is only this is just this is the green-white checker, but this is not overtime. So if there's another caution, I mean, the field freezes. So I don't know. I think you do stay out. You don't lose that track position.
Well, no, this is definitely overtime because the race is supposed to end on lap 34 going to 35, and we're on lap 36 right now. So this is an official green-white checker. That is for sure.
And so there is only one green-white checker. So, yeah, absolutely, you do. I would not have pitted because that means the next flag is going to end this thing.
But with the difference in speed, though, I mean, Carl Dodson, he's going to be the first man on new tires. He's going to drive right around these guys.
Well, he's got a long look. They're not just going to let him go number one. He has got to drive around these guys. So, yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. Dobson will be the car to beat. But all Baker has to do is just pray for the next caution.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Baker, he's got enough of a buffer, but if that caution doesn't come out, he's just going to be a sitting duck, unfortunately. But no, I agree totally. I think that this is going to be exciting. I would not be surprised if we I would not be surprised if we don't make it to the white flag. I hope we do. I want to see this race end under green, and man, what a stint that was. To see these guys go green for as long as they did.
Baker's counting ducks at this point. That's exactly what he's doing because this is what he's doing. How many ducks are between me and Dobson? That's what I need to know right there. And he's got 5 ducks sitting in between him and Dobson. So way to go.
He's going to have to hope that's enough.
Well, they're going to keep this thing stacked up. And, and if Dobson does elect to make it 3 wide, I mean, I think we got a good idea how that's going to end. So he will literally be risking it for the biscuit, putting himself in all types of harm way.
I mean, I'll tell you now is that time to risk it. You know, even though, yeah, he's going to be, you know, putting himself in harm's way to get involved in an accident or something like that. If I had new tires right now and everybody in front of me had old tires, I'm gone. I am pressing that loud pedal as hard as I can.
Oh, I totally get it, and that's how Jason Baker won his last race. So
Exactly.
totally understand what you're saying. We just got to watch this thing play out, man, and hope for the best. As the lights off on the pace car, pace car's off the field. Jason Baker taking this field to the Geico restart zone. Oh, and he gets Sousa sleeping. Sousa launches and has to check up.
Yeah, I think Sousa definitely mispredicted that. As we see Baker out into a little bit of a gap here. Mark Pageant going to be trying to work his way up to the back bumper.
Yeah, you got Josh Schaffner, John Mullins. You got all these guys going to be trying to get through here. It looks like Schaffner in the 42. Oh, there goes the field. Going to take a while to sort this one out as they are still wrecking. Schaffner is driving through. The caution is out. That will freeze the field. As the field is frozen, that looks like it's going to put Jeffrey Sousa as your winner. Well, that right now, ladies and gentlemen, that is unofficial. But it looks like we're going to call it with Jeffrey Sousa as the winner. John Mullins in second. Randy Drumhiller third.
Yeah, I definitely want to see this wreck here before we start. But yeah, definitely. Wow, what if that other one we called the big one? That was the big one. That was the big one. There were so many cars involved in that. Oh my goodness.
And now it's just a matter of trying to get them across the line in time.
That was just an insane wreck where cars mayhem. That's the only way to describe it. I think is mayhem. As a man, what an accident! I do believe you're right. I think you're right. And I'm sorry to interrupt you whenever you were doing the call there, but Sousa, he's got the win.
Yeah, that's right. Looks like Jeffrey Sousa is going to be your official race winner. John Mullins in second. Strong finish for him. Randy Drumhiller coming across the line in third. Christy Johnson fourth. Andrew Layton fifth. Carl Dobson sixth. Josh Schaffner seventh. Austin Story eighth. Clayton Hoffman ninth. Mark Sanchez in 10th.
11th place is going to belong to Greg Bartlett. 12th place, Thomas O'Hara. 13th place is going to be Wayne Grossi. 14th, we'll say Dan the Rabbit. 15th, Mark Pageant. 16th, Brian Johnson. 17th, Al Kozlowski. 18th place is going to be Paul Olson. 19th is going to be Craig Johnson. And rounding out our top 20 is Matt DiCiani.
And as we are still waiting on this to get officially tabulated, Joseph Lester looks like he is going to take 20th. Lucas Abreu, 21st. Craig Johnson, 22nd. J.C. Nabrega, 23rd. Robert Pattengell in 25th. Kenny Powell, 26th. Andrew Griesbaum, 27th. Derek Jacobs, going to be some 31 laps down in 28th. Kendall LeBron, 29th. Greg Wachinski finds himself in 30th, and that's going to put Andrew Bedrosian in 31st. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, as we have wrapped up the field, we are going to step away, get one more brief word from our sponsors as we get ready for our post-race coverage.
Buttkicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, Jeffrey Sousa out there tearing it up here at New Atlanta. Hot Atlanta, if you will. He's definitely taking care of business here. Was in the right place at the right time. Definitely had speed all night long. Always was in contention to, I think, win this thing. He did exactly what he needed to do to stay out in front of that accident and a lot of times with super speedways, luck does come into play. I mean, you have to be in the right place at the right time, and I think Sousa definitely did exactly what he needed to do, kept that car available, and I think that's what he needed here. And a great finish there from Randy Drumhiller. He was able to grab that third place. I think that's the first podium I think I've ever seen him have here, and might be the first time I've ever actually been able to talk to him. John Mullins definitely did a great job. He's going to be a finish second. I do believe. Do we have those guys available, Big Al?
They are available.
All righty. Well, good
John
to talk.
Mullins is in the booth.
Yeah, I got you guys. Go ahead.
Who's that? John Mullins. How are you doing? I know you got yourself a second place finish here. You feel lucky? I mean, that had to be hectic there at the end.
Yeah, I was happy to get in the top 10, actually, the way the first half went. And then we started running down that pack and then got fortunate and got that caution.
Yeah, definitely seemed like fortune's definitely favored you. You had a lot of speed all night still, though. I mean, even though you might have been happy with the top 10, I mean, you were right there in the mix the whole time. I mean, how do you like this new Atlanta?
I actually like it. I ran some A Opens, got me a win this week, and I actually like it. A lot of people don't, but me personally, I like it.
Well, we definitely like to see you do as well as you did out here for sure. I mean, what was some of the things you had to do to prepare to get ready for this race?
Well, I like I said, ran some A Opens, and I ain't been able to do that because of my health here lately. But I've got that all fixed up, and now I can actually put the time forth that's needed to run competitive. Feels good to actually run toward the front again. It's been a little while.
Well, we are definitely happy to hear that you've gotten your health kind of in order there. You're definitely the most important thing for sure, and for you to come back out here and show off and put some pace down. You definitely were one of the fast cars out there for sure. I know next week I do believe we're going to have an interesting track coming up, New Hampshire. Way different than this. How are you feeling about that?
That's another track I like. It's nice, smooth. You got to have throttle control, but I enjoy that track as well. So I'm actually looking forward to it. Maybe we can get lucky and get back in the top 5 again next week.
Well, we definitely look forward to you, showing up, and we'll be definitely rooting for you. All right, Mr. Mullins, who can we shout out after your second place finish here tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank you guys for the broadcast, Kenny Powell for putting on the league so we can do this, and definitely I'm a sponsor for tonight, Ram Welding Fabrication. Got to thank them.
All right, well, thanks for your time there, Mr. John Mullins. Look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, guys. See ya.
I do believe next up on the chopping block here, first time I think I've ever even heard his voice. Big Al, you're standing by with Randy Drumhiller.
Mr. Drumhiller, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you. How you doing?
What an exciting race for you guys. I mean, you guys came out here tonight starting in 29th and bringing it home officially in third. That has got to be a whole lot of biscuits for you guys, man. So how you feeling about that third place finish?
We're really pleased with that. Like you said, we started way in the back and just kind of bided our time. We got hooked up with a small group of cars for the first couple of stages and just ran it clean and went for some positions there at the end. It all worked out. It was great.
Yeah, that it did. So was your car set up more for the long run or the short run here tonight?
It was definitely for the long run. Really started coming in about 30, 35 laps.
So at what point did you actually realize that you were going to have a shot at getting this thing on the podium? Now, I know that last 5 laps or so were pretty chaotic, but you were actually able to keep yourself clean. So talk me through the last couple of laps there.
Well, I was checking to see how far back the cars were with new tires. I really didn't think new tires were going to have that much of time to have an effect. So I was just hoping I could stay inside on the inside line. That's where I wanted to be, and that's what really helped me.
So what about your preparation for this week? How many laps did you put down? Were you running any A Opens, any NIS races? How'd you prepare?
I just ran some practice laps last night. I've had a busy schedule this week. I haven't had a chance to do any A Open races or anything, so this is the first actual race. I ran about 100 laps in practice last night.
Well, it looks like it definitely paid off, and the key was definitely trying to stay clean and keep your car available for the end of that thing, which you guys definitely did. A very good finish. Congratulations for that, sir. I know that you guys definitely worked hard for that. But before I let you go, who you going to be shouting out tonight?
I think Jason and I think the rest of the guys at Black Flag Motorsports team put a lot of work in practice and good setup. So I want to thank them. Thank you guys and Kenny for putting on the league and my wife for letting me be the boss.
Well, yeah, definitely you are the boss. And with a third place finish, ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Randy Drumhiller, sir. Congratulations again, and you have a good evening.
Thanks, guys.
Next up is going to be our winner here tonight. The 14 of Jeffrey Souza was up there and available all race long, was up in the top 5 and had some times where he was able to get out in front and lead. And, you were there exactly when it counted, man. How are you feeling tonight?
We had a good car most of that race there. I hung around the first stage just taking care of it. Second stage, I kind of tried to work my way up towards the front, and I stayed there most of the rest of the race. It just sucks that it ended how it did there. Just saw I got a really bad restart there on the last restart, and went to give Mark a push, my teammate, and just he slid up at the last minute. I nicked him there in the left rear and wrecked him and Jason. So sucks, but still got to win, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of a silver lining there for sure. I mean, definitely unfortunate, when that kind of thing happens. But I mean, everybody is, I think, on edge, when you have a green white checkered situation. So I'm sure that everything's going to be fine there. And you didn't want that to happen, but I mean, you still brought home the victory here. How are you liking New Atlanta so far?
To be honest, I have not had much time at all to actually run laps. I was able to run this past weekend with a couple of the team guys working on something I actually took from Homestead from November of 2021, I think. It was an old setup, but I said, hey, Homestead, New Atlanta, kind of similar tracks. So I said, I'll try it. And, I tweaked on it a little. Carl tweaked on it a little. And I think most of us ran a version of that tonight. And we all had speed. So that's always great to see when the whole team has speed, even if everybody doesn't end up with the good finishes. We were up front, running laps, leading laps, and that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, you guys were very much doing very well out there. And my money was on Carl Dodson because I know he was on, the newest tires there on that last restart, but that kind of didn't come into play. And hated that we didn't see this thing, end under green, but we did see a whole heck of a lot of, green flag laps, that's for sure. So you guys did a great job entertaining us for sure. We're definitely excited to watch that one. Hopefully everybody out there that's watching loved every bit of it as much as we did. But how are you feeling? I know next week it's going to be kind of a little bit of a different track, much different than this. New Hampshire going to be on the schedule.
Yeah, sad thing about New Hampshire next week, it's for me technically it's a home track. I'll be there on the weekend actually for both races. So sadly, I won't be racing next Thursday. I'll be missing that race for an exam. So sadly, won't be racing next week. Like you said, a little bit of a silver lining to come out of this week with a win. But I will be putting in the hours this weekend with the team to try to get something nailed down. We've already started work on it today and earlier this week as well. So I'm thinking, Mark's been really good on the short tracks. Carl really likes how New Hampshire races with this car as well. So we've had a really good success as a team at New Hampshire with basically any car we've gone there with. So I'm thinking we'll show up with something pretty competitive, and hopefully they'll be running up front and I'll be watching the replay after the race.
All right, man. We definitely we'll watch it, and hopefully we call it well for sure, so you can tune in and hopefully you like what you see. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting one. New Hampshire is definitely a great track, a driver's track, if you will. Almost a bigger Martinsville. Look forward to seeing how that all plays out, man. Well, who can we shout out after your victory here tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I just got to thank everybody at Triad. We work hard, and it doesn't matter what type of track we go to. We usually unpack with 3-4 different setups, and then everybody goes their own way on each one. We work on them, get them all worked out, and like I said, we show up with fast cars all week. We've been up there competing in A Opens and NIS, whatever it is. We've been fast. So everyone at Triad, and then everyone at Souza Media as well. Without them, we wouldn't be able to fund a lot of the stuff we do. So Souza Media, Stent Analyzer if you're a setup builder, if you're not a setup builder and you're just a driver, get it. It has an overlay, works great, gives you your lap averages. Doesn't matter what the run is. Great program. And that's basically it. Just everybody that works hard to get these things put together every week and go fast.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate your time, man. Unfortunately, we won't see you next week. Hopefully, we'll still see you maybe on Saturday. You think you're going to make it on Saturday?
We'll see. Maybe might be able to run in on Saturday next week.
All righty. We'll look forward to seeing you either way, man. Congratulations on your victory. And that is Jeffrey Souza, our winner here tonight for the Southern Spiral Pipe 200 here at Atlanta Super Speedway. Got to make that distinction, Super Speedway, because it definitely was super here tonight. I think I'm starting to become a believer a little bit, Big Al. I'll tell you that. Just considering, I mean, I love the old version of this track, but I mean, this was some exciting racing tonight, was it not?
It absolutely was, and it was exciting all the way through. And I got to give a shout out to all of the drivers in the ISCA. These guys come out here and they put on a phenomenal show, top-notch racing. I mean, we definitely saw a lot. We saw 3 wide, we saw 2 wide, we dealt with lap traffic, but overall, I think once again it was a top-notch performance, Brian.
That it was, and definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in, and make sure you like, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitch for sure, follow us on Facebook. And with that, I do believe that about concludes the race here for tonight. Make sure you tune in on Saturday. We're going to be doing a similar race here at New Atlanta, I guess you could call it, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you tune in on Saturday for the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series. And thank you everybody for watching. Y'all have a great night.